What was that?
Perfect. You want to be that guy?
What's up, DCTV? Good morning. It is Monday, October 17th, 2022. My name is Brad. We got Jaime over here, Coach Tamp, Greg, and Don from the Don Fran Show. What up?
Good morning, everyone.
What's going on?
Shenanigans this week. It looks exciting.
How's everybody's weekend?
That was good. Don't everybody speak at once.
That was good. That's the kids.
My ass is coming in hot, and like nobody said shit.
I was like, oh.
Well, everybody's got the taste of the Mondays. I understand that. All right, let's just.
No,
check.
it's not, man. Terrible weekend for football as far as my picks are concerned. I did garbage.
That
as far as my
Tennessee
picks are
game, girlfriend.
Oh,
Who?
what a game!
Did the Bills win or did the Chiefs win? I missed the ending.
Bills won.
Pussies.
because Patrick Mahomes threw another interception.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did he really?
Yeah, he did.
Well, he's good at throwing the ball. You know,
Yeah,
it's up to you guys, everyone else to catch it. You know, like,
Everybody wins
He's
with
good.
him.
He's good at throwing the ball to the other team.
Yeah, everybody wins.
Packers and the Buccaneers sucked.
Oh my God, the games. Yeah, the Packers got roasted by the Jets in their house. That was crazy. And then the Ravens, of course, were the Ravens and lost the game in the last 5 minutes again because that's just what they do.
Damn,
yeah, that was a crazy. I was out of town. I went to a buddy of mine. He's a professional boxer, and it was crazy. He gives me ringside seats every time, and
I could see sweat in your photograph.
Yeah,
flying.
so it took
Amazing.
send it to the people in the Discord. It's an amazing experience. If you've never had a chance to get ringside seats to MMA or boxing, do it. But it was awesome. My boy ended up losing a split decision. It was his first loss, so it was tough to see, but it was a good fight anyway. Saw a couple knockouts. That's always fun. One fight I was watching, one guy got knocked right out of the ropes.
Really?
Fell
All the way down?
Yeah, fell out of the ring.
Is this MMA or
It was boxing. His like butt went right between the two ropes, and then like he just fell backwards. So it's like
damn.
it was crazy. It was
Usually
cool.
I just go to a local bar to see a live action.
I know, but it was cool. All right, so getting on with futures right now. I'm looking at S&P 500 is up. That's up around 50 points. The Dow's down or up. Sorry, 330 points. Nasdaq is also up 200 points. This is after a Friday where things had a pretty significant pullback. What a wild week last week that we saw in the stock market overall. Crude oil, WTI crude sitting at 86.19 a barrel. And looking at Bitcoin, it's hanging above that $19,000 mark. It's now up 390 points. Still rocking and rolling right now. It's actually having a pretty decent move here at $19,523 per Bitcoin. I guess we'll see where that day takes us. I mean, this is after I thought for sure we could possibly had seen a downturn in the markets because China literally told all of their residents to get the fuck out of Ukraine.
Yes.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I saw that. And shoot.
didn't everybody say that though? China's just the last.
Yeah, but China's probably got a little better information than some of the other
I
groups.
guess it's true. Yeah.
With Russia and a lot of trade cross border.
Right.
So the fact that they're telling their own citizens, boys, girls, get out right now.
Right?
We got
It's about to
Pelosi
happen.
buying iodine for radiation. We got China telling them to get out.
Seriously?
Oh,
Pelosi's
Yeah,
is
she
that
is.
real?
She bought a stock that or some company that's what they make.
So, Greg, here in
Great.
Mooresville, it's up in Statesville where we can get the iodine pills.
Yeah.
If Pelosi's doing it, bro, I think we better start planning.
Yeah, shit.
You guys want to mail me some? I don't even know where I can get some out here.
Well, here there's two nuclear plants, right, Greg? In
Yeah.
this area?
Well, there's like 12.
Okay. In this
They just
region.
keep you guys on the ready.
Yeah.
Like, hey, one of these could go south at any moment. Here's your local pickup.
I'll mail you a packet done.
But yeah, so nobody seemed to have bat an eye at that just yet, but I guess we'll see how the day goes. As we have seen in the markets all over, it's been super volatile. So just because the markets are up this morning doesn't necessarily mean they're going to stay up. We'll continue to watch those. Any developments that you saw on
How do you feel earnings are gonna?
Yeah,
This
so earnings
week.
season starts this week, and we've already seen a couple of them. It's been a mixed bag as far as the banks are concerned. I mean, JP Morgan did well. Chase didn't, or I'm sorry, not Chase. Some of the regional banks, Bank of America did well, from what I saw this morning, but there was a couple of regional banks that didn't so far. The banks are the ones that are going to be reporting first, but we get into the middle of the week here, and then we have Netflix that's reporting, as well as Tesla, Snap, some of the other ones. And so American Express is going to be at the end of the week. That's going to be an interesting one. So American Express is down nearly 50%, and I think it's too far. I think it's too far in one direction. This is
bottom. Then you feel?
I don't know if it's necessarily a bottom yet, but I just think that the risk reward is starting to get really good on something like American Express, because while there's, of course, inherent risk involved with getting into something like a credit card company, if there's a impending recession upon us, it's now gotten to the point to where it is back to where it was before COVID happened.
Oof.
And so I think just risk reward wise, that this may have sold off a bit too much. Now, can it go down lower? Of course it can. But I just think that we're starting to get to a point to where American Express is really attractive at this level.
Hopefully it's not a leading indicator for the rest of the markets, because I don't think everything else has hit pre-pandemic levels yet.
A lot of stuff has. I mean, you look at, and Don and I have talked about it on the show, Meta Platforms, aka Facebook. It's below pandemic lows.
Oof.
And Netflix is below pandemic lows. And Netflix deserves to be down there, to be honest.
Right.
But I think you look at Netflix too, and Netflix actually could have a decent, I don't want to say that they'll have a decent earnings, but I'll say that their outlook could be good, because they just kicked off their ad-supported leg of their business. So for $6.99 a month, you can watch Netflix with ads rather than paying the full price without ads. And that seemed to have gotten a lot of investors excited. The stock jumped 10% on Thursday. Had a little bit of a pullback on Friday, but as you can see, it's up another 2% now. So I don't know. I think it's going to be just like the banks have been so far. I think it's going to be a mixed bag of earnings, and it just kind of depends on what's going to, what people feel like they still need, and what's going to be more recession resistant and what's not. And I think a lot of the discretionary stuff obviously is going to fall to the wayside. But I'm interested to look at Tesla, and Don and I probably can have that conversation on here the day after Tesla's earnings. They're going to be Wednesday after hours. So Thursday morning, I'm sure that we can have a convo about
hey,
that.
Brad, Don, why the American Express news, that's interesting to me. What about other Visa, MasterCard? Are they seeing similar losses, or why American Express dipping so hard? I mean, what's going on there?
Yeah, all the credit cards are moving. So here's your daily chart on Visa, and
it's just crazy, because doesn't it seem to go against what, I mean, if money's so tight right now, it's real easy to pull out the credit card at the grocery store when you rack up $325 on 10 items. It's just surprising to me that when money's tight, the credit cards go down. You would think that their usage goes up, unless they're worried about people not paying back the credit. I mean,
that's what it is.
Yeah, defaulting.
Yeah. That's what it is. That's
gotcha.
The risk. There's been a couple of, I believe it was Citibank downgraded American Express last week, and that was what caused, those were the catalysts that brought it down quite a bit last week. What I will say is, though, especially on the American Express side, from the airlines perspective, we're not really hearing that there's much slowing in travel. And American Express does well with, they obviously offer a lot of travel benefits with their cards. And so that's a widely used card for travel in particular. So I think that certainly bodes well for them. I think it'll be interesting to see what they have to say on this upcoming earnings.
Yeah. I saw something about how travel, it was American Airlines, something boasted a $360 million quarter, something of the sort. Yet the last multiple times I have flown with different carriers into different airports, and I know for a fact Jaime's experience was the same. It took you an entire hour to get your bags out of checked.
Yeah.
If you checked a bag to get to claim, you're waiting an entire hour.
Yeah.
And all these flights still get canceled, and they're bringing it all to, well, we can't get workers. We can't get workers. Well, you sure got the money to pay them. So I'm not sure how you're posting, hundreds of millions of dollars in profits, and still the customer experience of flying right now is just garbage overall. How is that possible?
American Airlines. Yeah. American Airlines is not profitable yet. They're actually one of the worst companies as far as cash burn is concerned. Southwest actually is doing a little bit better, and Delta is the only, I believe, airline. Delta is the only airline that I think actually posted a profit this quarter and is going to be profitable. But I would venture to say Delta has the better balance sheet out of all of them. So
far,
does a nuclear explosion get to Class D airspace?
it depends.
Because I'm just saying, maybe travel might be safer. We start firing off the sun in the middle of nowhere. Maybe you're just above the radiation.
That's all speculation as of right now.
So let's do that to increase flight time. Come on.
What do y'all think about Kanye buying Parler?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. The company agreed to it in principle.
Yep.
Oh.
Interesting.
He's going on the warpath, everyone.
Well, and Parler's like a private Twitter, or is it
it's a social media platform.
Yes.
Oh.
So his buddy Elon's buying Twitter, so he's starting a rival business because Elon and Kanye are tight.
Well, he got banned from Twitter and whatnot for the antics last week.
Yeah.
So why not just buy this one? And
yeah.
Oh, so that's why they didn't.
I mean, he's got to take his money out of JP Morgan and put it somewhere.
Yeah,
he checking on that guy.
He made some comment about how he had $140 million in the JP Morgan and they treated him like shit. He's like, imagine
the rest of you,
how they're treating the rest of you. Yeah,
yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Smart twist.
Yeah, he's not one to lay down, which is I respect that quite a bit.
Speaking of WTF moments of the day, so. As you guys know, every morning we talk about kind of like just the what the fuck news of the day. We have other things crypto related, obviously, coming up, and I want to just cover those real quick. So if you guys haven't seen the news about Bitcoin astrologer, we're going to be talking about that because that's been a whole thing between her and Celsius. We also have a huge glut of Bitcoin mining rigs sitting unused in boxes, and I want to get you guys thoughts about that. And we also have Anthony Hopkins NFTs have sold out in 7 minutes. And we're going to discuss the NFT market right now, too, because everybody keeps talking about how terrible it is. And to me, if Anthony Hopkins NFTs are selling out, maybe it's not so bad after all. We're going to be talking about a lot of that. But before we get into any of that, guys, I wanted to encourage you guys to check out our Discord. Please go join our community. The link is in the description as well as in this chat. So if you guys aren't a part of the Discord yet, we'd love to have you there. Again, absolutely free. Just hang out in our community, engage in conversation there. If you want to learn more about Bitcoin, if you want to learn more about cryptocurrency, or just chat in general, that's going to be your place to be for our DCTV group. All right. So WTF moment of the day. It is this New York City congressional candidate, Mike Itkis, stars in a porn show to show sex positive agenda. And his arguments are, I mean, this is some campaign. His arguments are that he wants to basically legalize sex work. And this is the way that he went about going to do it. Ended up, you can go right on Pornhub and find it. And
it's cringe-worthy, guys.
It is definitely cringe-worthy. If you are a frequent porn flyer, you're not going to like this one. This is the guy fully naked, just with this chick. Look how creepy this is. This is like some Biden shit right now.
It is.
No, that looks like who's the Hollywood guy that just got in trouble for that? Like was like telling the girls come to his hotel room. He just take the towel off. He was in a position of power. That's what that looks like. That is weird.
Like.
Or she's some spy. She's some spy trying to catch him in the game, getting the photo evidence to smear him.
Yeah, that's it.
This is Sabrina Swallows right here.
Yeah.
It is not. Oh, let me guess. This dude was running on the blue ticket, wasn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Oh, hell yes, he is. So he wants porn to be legalized. Does he give any indication at all? Huh?
No, not porn.
No, he wants sex workers.
Or sex work. Okay, so prostitution and whatnot. Does he give any indication in this article of the possible repercussions of legalizing, illicit activity like this, and how he's going to deal with that? I doubt it.
This piece from the New York Post, doesn't really allude to that. So,
okay, so just the cause, not the effect. Typical politician. Right. Sounds
what
good.
What does happen if they legalize it? What does that do to trafficking if it's legal now?
You're going to see, that's what I was going to say, big time increases or just more in your face trafficking kings, basically, that will come out very much like certain cartel people are not afraid at all to show up in front of the White House and take pictures, a la Escobar. People that are in charge of the rings that work constantly in drugs and human trafficking will just be very brazen about it. It's definitely not going to stop. You're going to see your narcotic usage go up tremendously in these circles due to the legality of it. I mean, it's just, there's a lot of problem, not so much with the fact that you want to sell your body for sex. It's not that simple. If it was that simple, it would probably still be legal, but there's a lot of activity around that just isn't good. Even like at night, if you leave your doors open at night, your car's unlocked at night, there's nothing wrong with that until something bad happens. You're inviting the bad that comes with doing those actions. It's the same type of thing.
And who
not invite
those people?
Did I what?
Wouldn't it be easier to catch those people?
It would be, but that sort of thinking, unfortunately, it's just like a Medusa mentality. You're in a lot of ways, when you know who the criminals and the head members are, you can contain them better than if you get rid of those higher powered illicit directors, if you will. And now 4 other ones show up to take his or her place. And now you have no idea who they are, where they are, or what they're doing.
Your known evil versus your unknown.
Exactly. And it's a double-edged sword, and there's good arguments on both sides of leaving it alone or taking it out.
Yeah, because you see, like in Thailand, right? Is it Bangkok?
Go ahead.
Where I was just making sure I was.
Tell us more about what you saw over there.
Yeah, I've been there. So
okay, but so I've had friends that have been there too, and they were like, any woman who isn't a sex worker could walk down the street naked and nobody would even touch her because it's legal.
Yes, but that's a cultural thing. It's very different to a creep like this. I'm sorry, a candidate like this. Clearly showing abuse. I mean, to me, it's just the message itself. The fact that he even flaunts atheist, all these other things. It's almost like free for all. Fuck it, guys, family. We don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, that's the other. Yeah, so he actually said that part of his campaign too is that he supports he supports that men should not be required to support biological children without prior agreement.
So it's like, now he has the sex act, and what if she does get pregnant? Well, sorry, that's his attitude. It's like,
well, I mean, as a Democrat,
according to our researchers' notes, it was about practicing safe sex.
Yeah, like his argument only works like when the girl's poking holes in the condoms, like trying to trap them. Like in every other scenario, that's kind of a shitty thing to say.
Yes.
Like, it still took 2 people to make that baby.
No morals, no math. I mean, it just fits that party very well. You can't do math. You have no effect from your cause whatsoever. Apparently that doesn't work. And now, hey, if you want written consent to get child support, well, now you clearly have to define what a man and woman or a mother and father is, because, there could only be one. Are you getting written consent from who?
Oh, I'm sorry. I need you to sign this prenup first.
Exactly.
Laura's got the best. There's the count right there. Insertion is the signed agreement.
He's exactly right.
Yeah.
Dip the pen in ink, so to speak, huh?
Yeah. Seriously. I mean,
yeah.
There's got to be accountability. There's got to be.
On this far stuff, listen, I know I'm taking shots at the blue party right now, but it's just as rampant in the extremes of the red party as well. It's just, when you go to these extremes, they got to end up on WTF, because is anybody taking this seriously outside of maybe John Fetterman? He probably is, because he's just as extreme in Pennsylvania. I mean, this is just nuts. But in the same breath, it's scary that I just said that there are people out there campaigning for these extremes, and there will be people that vote for them. And you're like, what in the world? There's really people who agree with this stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was your WTF news of the day. I don't know how I keep finding these. Every time I'm thinking, well, it's going to be a slow day for that. It's like, nope, somebody else does some fucked up shit. And now we get to talk
I think we got an extra one today. Don has.
So for that, we thank you. Yeah. What was the one?
It was, so it was a YouTuber, BitBoy. Tamp's got some opinions. Now Tamp's got opinions on all of this. This is gonna be hilarious just to poke fun at her. But I watched him because I'm not a crypto nerd. I haven't dove deep into anything. And he's got a big following, which I know is like definitely not a reason to be following somebody. But he did say some what I think is kind of outlandish stuff. You've seen Tam and I go back and forth a little bit about Cardano. I have no feelings about it. I own some. Tam, who's I'd say probably more knowledgeable than I am as far as crypto goes, says that's a no-go. Don't buy that one. Well, BitBoy comes out last night and says he thinks Cardano could possibly be the number one. It could take over market cap of Ethereum and Bitcoin, which I thought was just yeah. See, like I don't talk to the reason I don't talk to people about crypto is just because the whole scene, it's either your religion or you hate it and it's a scam, and then I just don't care about any of that. So you guys are like the crypto people I talk to, so I've never heard anything negative about BitBoy. But it is funny now that I bring up on stream, we get the comments. I send it to Tamp, and she says the same.
Which is funny.
And he's people. Go ahead, Tam.
Yeah. Don sent me this stuff last night, and I told him just straight up, because like Don said, I know he's still learning. He's looking for the right people to follow, which a lot of people do. I did at the beginning. For sure, you got to figure out who to follow, and somebody with a large following makes sense. But I told Don right away, listen, that dude's a shill. Do not listen to him. Just know who he is to stay far away from him. Don understandably has some questions, but now that we get other people in the chat backing me up right away, now all of a sudden it's like, oh, she did say that, so I guess he is a shill.
What was my first question?
Did I need to mansplain it to you, Don?
What was my first question though, Tam? Because it's something I think everyone should ask. Tam's first thing was he's a shill. He sells stuff, and I said, who told you that? Was it someone that followed him and lost money? Because the whole shill thing is talked around like scam. Like, oh, I lost money. That dude must be a scam. Because who was he paying attention? Like, I like to get to the actual, not surface level, like dig deep. But so far, what it sounds like, it sounds like you guys might be onto something.
Yeah. A lot of people that have these huge exposures to a crypto audience is because at some point they were paid. Now, it's how they accepted those payments, how transparent they were, what they did to get those payments. There's ways that it can be done professionally and understandably, and then there's ways that are just clearly under the table. And BitBoy is definitely one that has been paid multiple times, shown proof on the blockchain to show that he was paid for things that he then shilled and, made his followers exit strategy for himself. And that is absolutely not okay. He is a very well-known shill to people who have been here a while. So it's not a problem. Bring people to attention. Just know who you're dealing with. And so, it's like I deal with this sometimes at home. It's like you ask me a question and I tell you the answer. And then it's like, well, nuh-uh. I'm like, well, I don't know what to say there. Why'd you ask me? So it's just one of those things. And I'm glad there's people here in the chat with some stripes on their shoulders that are agreeing, because
yes,
I wouldn't not listen. And what he said too was that Cardano was going to overtake the market cap of both Ethereum and Bitcoin.
And that
alone.
Yeah.
And
that alone.
The difference between people who actually do research and a shill is shills, you can actually see the payment, or if they even declare it. But like Tam said, you can see on the blockchain that they did get paid. But one of the common denominators you'll see amongst them is that they do not substantiate what their claim is. Why is ADA going to take over? Why? There is no data about it. They won't bring up GitHub in terms of how much is being deployed. There's a lot of hard data that people like accountants, financiers can look at to say, oh, I can see how we're going to get there. No, instead they come up with theories like wrap all of the Bitcoin and stop mining. You know, it's like, what the hell? How are you expecting to build an empire or take over a market by just copying everything else everyone else is saying?
Right. Yeah.
Did you watch the show that we did, Don, on ADA, where we spoke about ADA
you
and
said
our
you were gonna
problems?
fire me up.
Yeah,
No, I
like
missed that one.
You were sick. So honestly, watch it, because it's not just a bash ADA session. That's too easy. Like, we went into, Jaime and I for sure went into reasons, deep-rooted reasons of why we have problems with it, with the tokenomics, with the overall mentality, with the language that it's written in, with the track record of lack of projects deploying, why said projects deploy late. I think it's intentional that they budgeted off as marketing. That's BS if you want to believe that. You know, it's because you copy everything. So, I mean, go back, watch that show. We did a show on why ADA is not in my personal bag of cryptocurrency and never will be.
Yeah.
Because he uses the big words, but his actions, he takes little tiny steps.
Yeah, I mean, he was early on in Ethereum. We're talking about the founder of ADA, Charles Hoskins, and he was early in Ethereum in the cool kids crowd with Vitalik and Evan and these other guys that started Ethereum, and basically got kicked out and has done nothing since other than talk about the good old days and talk about how smart he is. That's about it, because you sure as shit don't have anything, you know, to prove for it, to no money where your mouth is. That's for sure.
And he went to Japan to raise capital because he couldn't raise it here, and used a well-known shill over there to create the FOMO and the investors in way back in the day. So all this is documented. It's all out there. It's just, we should always follow, Don, the philosophy of trust but verify. So, okay, they say, they make the claims. Now let's go verify if this is real. But that's upon each one of us to do our own research.
So itty bitty boy is crazy. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
This could be an easy one, easy answer or a whole video. What are some good sources if you wanted to verify something? What's a couple websites off the top of your head to just go check this out?
So you can actually go to CoinMarketCap, which is where it has all links from all over the place. Even TradingView, if you go to the coin itself, you'll see they bake in any news coming out. Google is another source. GitHub, if you're technical, go to GitHub, because there you can actually see, are they building? Are they really revolutionizing? Or is it copy paste of someone else's idea? So that's a technical way to validate what's going on. And then get out there like everyone else. Oh,
sorry. I didn't open that this morning. It was already open. Like, I was gonna wait, but
beautiful. So get out there to verify. So don't just go to the echo chambers of the people that shill. Even us. I mean, validate what we say. Get out there, Google it, and find out. Okay, where'd these guys get their information from? And you will find it just takes time. Like all of us that are in here, even in the chat, have been in it long enough to now start identifying, okay, this one has no basis for the words. This other person, based on their past fruits and deliverables and deliveries, I tend to listen to. But still do your homework before you make a financial decision that could wipe you out. This is my 2 cents.
Agreed. And a lot of it is platform specific too. It's hard to just say, oh, go to this one person for everything, because you used to be able to do that when crypto was relatively small, and it's grown exponentially even over the last 3 years, much less further back than that. And it will continue to grow even larger as well. But usually your people with your largest followings, there's some shady something in there somewhere that you can take a look at. So if anybody has any questions about a specific platform, who do I follow? Definitely reach out in our Discord about that specific platform, and we can guide you to some good, what we feel are neutral, or just maybe a little more technical influencers that, you should maybe take what they say, a little better than somebody else who's just an overall, this is what I think type of person. So just ask us in Discord, because there's so many now. It's hard to say.
Yeah, and go to the opposite camps. Like someone that gets under Charles's skin constantly is Chico Crypto. So just go over to Chico Crypto and see what his arguments are, and then balance that out. So
that's a good point.
Join Discord, and you'll see.
Speaking of which, it's a perfect segue into the Bitcoin astrologer.
Jesus,
if you guys have been following along on Twitter, this whole saga, she's been ripped. If you guys don't know who she is, she's a popular Bitcoin. Well, she's just a popular influencer, a Bitcoin astrologer. She has been getting ripped on Twitter following a $30,000 in Celsius payments. If you guys are familiar, Celsius, of course, is now bankrupt. Her actual name is Marin Altman, who has more than 1.8 million social media followers. And she's being accused of not being forthcoming about her deal with the now bankrupt crypto lender. The influencer says that her marketing sponsorship role is no different than making fashion ads. And so what basically she has was paid $15,000 a month to mention Celsius twice a month in her videos, and I think a couple of times on TikTok or what have you. And so now she's comparing this to something like her fashion ads. I actually didn't want to just have a knee-jerk reaction to this, because I think the easy reaction would be, hey, let's just continue to bash her because she said it's like fashion ads. But is it or isn't it? Because
she's clear on what she's doing.
I think, well, and
to the audience,
she didn't say how much she got paid, but she did say that she got paid.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think that if it's financial advice that she's giving or something like that, then it's different. But I think if she's just mentioning it or she's just talking about it, and I don't know. I don't think it actually is all that different.
She clearly says she's an astrologer. I mean, it is her business. So to pay someone.
The issue is that, yes, she did say that I think on 2 different videos, she said that, she was paid by Celsius, to give a shout out basically. And then she went on and made further videos where she said absolutely nothing. So now you're leaving it to the end user, the person who's hearing all this, the consumer of her information, to try and figure out what is paid for and what isn't. And that's, I think, where the gray area lies. You're either paid or you're not. Right. So every time she brings up Celsius, whether she needs to say that she's been paid at some point. Yes. During that. Otherwise, you're shilling it all the time. And that is, I think, where people were upset, is you said it all the time, but not that you were paid all the time. What is it here?
Yeah, that's one of the things I do like about this other YouTuber, Chico Crypto. Anytime he is shilling or he mentions anything, he says, oh, this is a paid portion, and the terms of my deal with him is down below. And then he goes into it. And then, so he separates when he's paid to do something and puts the terms in the description of the YouTube video. And I think that's one of the good practices that any YouTuber should do, or any influencer, is like, all right, guys, did you get paid? Did you not? You did? Put it in the description below, and here are the terms. And that gives your viewers a difference between your personal opinion and a paid opinion that you were. So transparency, I think, is key here.
Yeah.
And Don, that goes back to your question as well. Like, if you're listening to somebody and they say, listen, I was paid, this is what I think about it, right or wrong, that's transparent. There's something good out of that. But if you find out that somebody was paid after the fact and they brought up this great argument as to why you should hold coin XYZ, then that's shady. Whether the coin is legit or not, that's just not a good, solid business practice.
Yeah, and I don't understand what the big deal is. Like, just say you got paid to talk about it.
Right. That's it.
And then give your honest opinion and then be done with it. Like, if I got that kind of deal, or whether it was with a company that they paid me to talk about them, I'd be like, hey, listen, they paid me to talk about this. Here's my honest opinion. It's just like reviewing a car or reviewing some other product. And that's why I don't think it's any different than the fashion ad side of it. Because like, I think a lot of people were like giving her shit for that. It's like, it really isn't that different, in my opinion.
When I saw the article, I was not thinking ill of her at all.
No, I wasn't either.
I'm with Hornet UK. At least she's hot. What are you guys doing? But she was approached for this, and she's a businesswoman, and she knows what she's doing, and she does it. So I thought ill of Celsius.
Oh yeah.
What the hell are you going to an astrologer for financial advice or future? You know, it's influence. Yes, exactly.
And that's why they are bankrupt. Clearly, she's not that great of an astrologer either.
Well, she said that Bitcoin entering receding Mars something this week, so we'll see how good she is.
Well, have y'all ever tried to watch one of her videos?
No,
they're hard to watch. Actually, when she talks,
I've already heard enough.
It's kind of rough. It is exactly what you think. Like, oh well, Bitcoin is this day, which is the same day as the red moon, which is known if you do your chakras and shamans and
Some of the other day
it's kind of confusing.
There's a legit YouTuber the other day that was saying the same thing. It was when they changed the signs from Aquarius or whatever. I don't know the order, but there's a name for the day change. He says tomorrow's going to be a huge day, probably green. He goes, and I'm not going to say it, but we're changing the day or something like that. And like he's mentioned a full moon a couple of times, so I fully believe that's what he trades on. Anyway, the next day was super red, so he was still wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd never follow that crap. Speaking of which, moving billions of dollars because the moon changed the color.
Right.
I think that's stupid.
Speaking of which, I just wanted to check back in with the markets. Looking at the S&P, it's up 89 points. The Dow's now up 600 points. That Nasdaq's up 3%. Looking at Bitcoin right now as well, and it is doing pretty good still. It's up 448 points at $19,582 per Bitcoin. Looks like the markets are rocking and rolling, at least so far this morning.
Somehow I have a feeling there's a Black Swan event right around the corner, guys.
Like a nuke or something.
Yeah, like something's
like you might need to buy some iodine.
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll mail it to you, bro.
now we have it on video, so we at least accurately predicted this. All right, so moving on, I wanted to talk about this real quick. There's a huge glut of Bitcoin mining rigs that are sitting unused in boxes, and we haven't talked about the actual miners in a bit on this show. And so I kind of wanted to kind of bring this up because we're in the business of Bitcoin mining here at DCTV, and with our parent company, MetaFi or Stas Fund. I think this is very interesting. So Matt Schultz, executive chairman of Bitcoin miner CleanSpark, figures 250 to 500,000 mining rigs are still sealed up in boxes in the U.S. alone, based on his conversation with analysts. Ethan Vera, chief operating officer of the mining services from Luxor Technologies, put the number at around 276,000 worldwide in September. And I guess the big question is, why aren't more people buying these up?
So expensive to run.
Correct. And also, this is still the after effects of all the exit from China in terms of the inventory.
Oh, we're still seeing the effects of that.
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yep. So one of the common things, even Peter was mentioning to us in the conferences, is even these big investors that own the ASICs are desperately trying to find where to plug them in to put them to work.
Yeah. The biggest holdup right now is access to power.
Mm-hmm.
Power's king. I mean, you can have them wherever you want, but if there's not power available at a specific site, it just takes time. Most timelines are worse still because of COVID, but you're looking at at least a year to buy switchgear and things like that in order to build the infrastructure to house them. So it's just going to take time.
Well, there's that, and there's also this comment from Alex Martini, the CEO of New York-based miner Block Fusion. He's talking about the actual costs of energy. So as you guys can see here, he mentions they had 32 megawatts of empty space. There are other sites that have a total of 400 megawatts on rack space, but customers aren't interested in because of energy rates are too high and the price of Bitcoin is too low. Is there some truth to that too, Greg?
For sure.
Yeah. And it's by area. Like Greg and I went to Pennsylvania, and we saw that the common denominator price per kilowatt on the industrial side was $0.015 versus New York is much higher than that. And there's restrictions, restrictions by the state on putting miners to work. So they're in an area which is difficult to deploy, and that what he just stated or applies. Mm-hmm. But in other areas, you have it where it is economically viable. It's just what Greg just mentioned.
Yeah, if you're getting ran off natural gas, guess what? Your price per kilowatt jumped up, right? So you enjoyed a time of cheaper power, and now it's more expensive. So just like we talked about last week, right? If Bitcoin falls to 17.5, what miners are shutting off at that point in time because they're just going to sit there and it's cheaper for them to be off than on.
Yeah, and I'm interested too in this article because I didn't get to read the whole thing, but is it saying the miners are just off and waiting for the price to rise or energy prices to go down, or are they off the shelves and not planning on turning them back on at all?
They're in warehouses,
sitting in boxes,
waiting. Okay, so they're boxed up.
Yes, so they bought them. These people that have these ASICs or miners bought them, but they do not have where to deploy them, where to put them to work.
Yep. I mean, we're even looking at that right now. I mean, we have meetings today. Because our community reaches out to us all the time. I have these miners or I have this power, help me out. And I mean, we're happy to help. You know, we're happy to plug you in, whether you're on the miner side or the power side. Reach out, let us know what you got, and we'll put you in touch with the right people. That's part of how we give back. I mean, like I said, we have a meeting today about it.
Yeah, there seems to be plenty of power to go around. Before, this is another quote here in the article, says, before signing with Applied Blockchain for 200 megawatts of capacity, Marathon vetted at least 30 hosting options, and that there's more supply for hosting than there are people looking to fill it right now, even though plenty of machines are sitting around.
And that's based on the terms that they're trying to set.
Right.
So it has to be a viable business model. And when you ask, of course, there's megawatts available, but at 9 cents per kilowatt, it ain't going to work, especially if they're not your miners and you're paying, or they are your miners and you're paying for hosting.
And
at
all
9
that,
cents per kilowatt. It's too risky.
So what's like the sweet spot right now? Like if you're into Bitcoin mining and you're looking for space and you're trying to work out some sort of deal, either for a host or doing it yourself, whatever, what's like a good sweet spot for power and cost to the point to where it makes sense? And the second part of this question is, if Bitcoin's going to go to 100K or 200K within a reasonable amount of time, I'm saying less than 5 years, does it then not even matter? Because like you're still just mining Bitcoin now while it's nice and cheap.
Yeah, but you still got to pay for it right now.
Yeah, it depends on what your financial state is. If you've got a wonderful investment with, let's say, 4 years of runway that can pay that power cost each month, then by all means run in it, jump in it, and get them deployed and get them mining, right? And then you're going to hodl and sell at the right time. But if you've got to sell coin throughout to pay those bills, then that's where it gets in and it's crazy. And every economic decision is going to be unique. But in general, what we've seen as far as hosting, if it's 8 cents a kilowatt hour or below for hosting, it seems to be, fairly profitable even with the Bitcoin rates now.
And you have 3 participants in this model that Greg is mentioning: the guys that have the power, the owners of the miners, and then a lot of times there will be a middle one to do the servicing, setup, everything else. So the sweet spot, to answer your question, you'll see the prices that Greg mentioned are about 8 cents where you're still profitable, but you do need that runway for the growth to be able to hodl it, pay for the electric, and then sell it at that point.
Gotcha.
You can also get to if you own the ASIC and you own the power, then you are in a leading position at that point. But just don't over leverage. Marathon themselves, who are quoted in this article, they started selling desperately their ASICs because they started over leveraging themselves in the run up. So now they're upside down on there, and they're trying to get out of the ASIC contracts that they had before. And that's what created this whole desperation. So if you do it financially, you put some thought into your business model responsibly, you can succeed in this business. And what's happening with these guys is now they're trying to put their ASICs to work, but the terms that others who are upside down are asking for too much. So there has to be a washout at this moment, a cleansing of the market, and you will see these ASICs put to work at some point.
Got it. Yeah, that makes sense. Great discussion on that. I think that's something that I'd like to continue to dive into in later shows. But I just thought that was interesting to see that there's this huge inventory and we talk all the time about how like now's the time to really kind of deploy all this stuff and keep mining. And it's just like, well, if that's the case, how come some of these bigger companies are just like sitting on the sidelines and not actually deploying this stuff while Bitcoin's nice and cheap if you expect it to go much higher than where it's at right now?
They went upside down. They over leveraged.
Yeah.
You'll see. Or in the case of the Chinese that brought their ASICs over to LA, Houston, those areas where they're stocked at or stashed at, unopened.
Yeah.
They're trying to find where to place them.
Right.
And probably some of them are expecting Chinese power prices, coal power prices versus what we have in the States, which is green and better regulated.
Yep.
So yeah, that's where they're stuck at this point.
Why not just build a dome of solar panels on the roof of your building?
You can.
Yeah,
you can, but the problem with solar is that solar goes obviously up and down with the rising and setting of the sun. And a miner running goes up high one time and then stays high. So at the end of the day, you can use solar, but the consistency of the up and down in solar with, meshed with the consistency of a Bitcoin starting, getting high and staying high. That's the middle ground that people are working on right now. It's how do we
it
make
can be
something
done
that
if
goes
you
in wave.
Yeah, it can be done. They're doing a lot of testing and stuff right now with microgrids. That goes into that. That's looks pretty promising in the future for more of that.
And there again, you need the capital to do it. So let's say solar is a viable option. There's a few people already doing it. It's just you do have to have the capital to knock it out. And
the storage capability, I would imagine. So like
correct battery banks and everything.
Power and all that. Yeah.
Absolutely. And Lord Fenrir has a great point in terms of the ASICs. That's what we've been targeting in our raises, is getting the funds to buy the ASICs at these desperate prices.
Yeah.
And we're expecting it to get one more leg of desperation down so we could lock these in. Some of the people we've been talking to are expecting to be able to pay about $13 per terahash cost. And just when Bitcoin levels off and it starts running back up, just selling the miner, never putting it to work, just selling it back out, you could double or even triple your investment you do today.
Right. Yeah. I thought this was an interesting question from Indo Crypto as well. Do you think the U.S. government is mining BTC?
I'm sure of it.
I would think so. There's very little corporate, like true corporation or monopoly that does not own Bitcoin in some shape, form, or fashion, and or mining it. That is for sure. And it's just done under multiple LLCs that own LLCs that own group LLCs. And it's very difficult to track back to who the actual single owner is.
Right. Yeah.
And they've secured Bitcoin in seizures and everything else, illegal seizures.
Yeah. I mean, I think that'll be, I thought it was a good question. And I think that it'll be interesting to see how people react when it comes to like the government's been mining this the whole time and how much that
aliens are real.
Yeah.
Aliens are
correct. All right, moving on to Anthony Hopkins. Sells out he has NFTs that sell out in 7 minutes. Which we talk about NFTs quite a bit on here. I would say several times a week we dive into NFTs here and there, especially headlines like this. But his first NFT collection sold out in less than 10 minutes. We talked about that, despite the overall sore market conditions and dwindling user interest in digital collectibles. This is called the Eternal Collection. The project was launched in collaboration with NFT design agency Orange Comet and featured 1,000 original cinematic art pieces inspired by different performances of the actor over his film career. I would imagine Silence of the Lambs is all over that. The body of work conceptualizes an interpretation of the vast character archetypes that Sir Anthony Hopkins has portrayed over his illustrations and film career, drawing his potent energy from his stimulating body of art, according to the collection's description on OpenSea. Now, this is something that I think is still very interesting. So for those of you guys who don't know, DCTV is involved in NFTs. We have our own NFT platform, and we've placed certain NFTs, and we've talked about Simon Oxley's artwork that we have on there. So we will be talking about that more and engaging with you guys a little bit more on NFTs. And I'm looking to actually get into the NFT game. Dr. J, you and I need to talk, my man, because I'm actually getting ready to start taking some photos of and creating NFTs of cars. I'm really excited to get into that, exotic cars and stuff like that. So creating communities around that part of it. And I'm still an NFT green bean as well. So yeah, here's the NFT and Anthony Hopkins NFTs. They all look actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the reason I brought this up is because I want to talk to you guys about this. We see such a depressed market, but yet there's still demand and for stuff like this. For this to sell out in less than 7 minutes, that is absolutely incredible.
Yeah. But we talk all the time about utility, right? What utility do these have? Obviously, to people who are fans of Anthony Hopkins, it's like a memorabilia thing to them. But this also comes with, if you get certain ones, you can get a 15-minute FaceTime with Anthony Hopkins. You can get VIP tickets to certain premieres, right? So again, they're being used as tickets. It's good. It's going to make Anthony Hopkins and his crew some money along the way, because I think they started selling for 0.2 ETH, and then the floor quickly rose to 0.8 ETH. You know, which so you're in the over $1,000 now.
Yeah.
And again, what is the utility? Why do I want one of these?
And this is art.
I was going to say it's not really it. So, and forgive me for my ignorance. Is it utility if it's just a piece of art still, or no?
If you're super rich and you need a place to hide taxes.
So it's just like buying, paintings. It's just buying like a Picasso.
Truly.
It's like memorabilia.
Correct.
Right? Like, I mean, like if I'm a huge fan of Cirque du Soleil, whatever, I'm going to get a poster from every single show that I go to, and I'm going to mount it in a pretty frame and hang it on my wall. And to me, that's going to be worth something, because I love Cirque du Soleil. I remember when I got to meet the actors in it, whatever it is. And then if somebody comes over to your house and is like, hey, I really like that picture, that's a cool one of O or whatever, I'll give you $200 for it. Now it's up to me. Is it worth it to me for the utility that I get for that poster? If it's just a picture, maybe $200 is worth it. But if this picture then also allows me to get into 3 shows in Vegas, in a certain seating section a year, it's going to be worth a lot more than $200 for me. Right. Yeah. It just depends on, is it just an artistic, sentimental thing, or does this NFT actually hold value, whether it's to access or whatever in the future?
Correct. And also think of it as a signed autograph card.
Right.
That's the way most people will look at this. Is I want one of these because I know he's not eternal, of course, even though the title is, but he won't be.
Right.
So, and this is something that I truly enjoyed, for example. So, and that's what I saw back in the Christie's auction house days, is you could see people buying it. Defines an era for them. So if they see something that's a collectible created by the person I actually admire from my good era, I'm willing to throw something out to buy it, secure it for myself, and show on the blockchain and everyone else, I own this created by Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
So down the road, my kids can have it, or anyone else who's a true fan of it, just like any work of art.
I'm actually excited to get into the NFT game with like the exotic cars stuff, because, and I'm probably sharing too much information before somebody steals this, but whatever. But I like, imagine if we got a hold of somebody who is super famous, and I got some pretty good photos of this NFT, and this happens.
Correct.
And I just feel like it would.
There's no doubt.
Yeah. What is that magazine? The Rob Report, or these exotic car, where you can actually get the provenance of the vehicle. So following your model.
Right.
And someone be like, ooh, I'm buying that car. I want this NFT that's attached to it that shows the entire history of the car.
Owner history. Think about it. Think about if you got to photograph one of Elvis's cars that he was photographed in. Right. So now you're getting a authenticated signature that Elvis Presley sat here and drove this car. So this, even if it's like whatever car, it's just a regular old pickup truck. It's not a regular old pickup truck now. This is the one that Elvis owned, or Elvis drove on this set of this movie, who won this many awards, right? It's unique, not just down to the make and model, but what that car has gone through. And if you watch some of the auctions, the car auctions in Vegas that are amazing, you can see some of what look like the crappiest cars ever go through right next to these 6-figure cars because they were used on the set of Back to the Future, or used on the set of Ghostbusters. You know, it's that sort of uniqueness that an NFT gives you a guarantee of. Why is this particular one that might be one of many? Why is it different?
Why not just Google that truck and sell it as an NFT? Like Elvis isn't around to tell me no.
Right, because how do you verify it? Like, correct. Yes, you've told me, and I could choose to believe you. You Googled it, but you could also be a scam artist. You could be an astrologer. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going on. Maybe you were paid to say that Elvis sat in this car, you know, and at the end of the day, you don't care. The NFT is what actually authenticates that. And it's non-fungible. You cannot manipulate it. You can't pay for it. You can't market it wrong. You can't lie about it. So if it's not unique because it's one of a million, it's unique because Elvis sat in this one of a million vehicle. Yeah. Right.
If you why can't I just Google Elvis's truck?
Because maybe it wasn't his truck. Maybe he just sat in it at a parade. Right? It just depends. But if you can, you know, the NFT attached to that vehicle will show that this is the actual vehicle that was used in that parade that Elvis sat in and drove. Yeah. Right? And does that make sense?
And collectors have terms, standards. Like, bro, you pull this out of Google. They're not going to buy it. Like, you can do all that. But the fact that Anthony Hopkins himself stated, here's my NFT collection. Go for it. Have at it, guys. This is yours. Buy it.
This Anthony guy, he's pretty cool. Who is Anthony?
Are you serious right now?
Bro,
you don't know who Anthony Hopkins
Clarice?
You
sounds familiar, but
Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
Okay. He's the guy. Okay.
That is Sir Anthony Hopkins.
Why is he so famous? Like why is he a big deal?
It's like saying,
oh my
why
God.
is Frank Sinatra famous in the music industry? Like, you just asked that question.
Come
why
on,
is Anthony
man.
Hopkins?
Now you gotta watch.
Yeah, you better Google.
Like, I watched Silence of the Lambs. I'm just saying, but like,
yeah, but look at
all the actors you picked him.
He's also just an amazing actor. It's not just Silence of the Lambs. It's
brilliant.
Yeah.
Don, you need to watch the Ada video that we made. You need to watch Silence of the Lambs. You need to watch all of Anthony. You just basically dissed Sean Connery. They're, you know, like, it's like the same thing.
Is that the guy that stopped the end of the world in Terminator?
Oh my God.
Just move on. This guy's a lost cause.
Jesus Christ.
John Connor, right? He's pretty big
deal.
Not
John Connor from Terminator. Sean Connery. Oh.
Zed's brother.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
With that, ladies and gents, we got birthdays. Eminem turns 49 today.
Damn, 49 already.
Eminem turns 49 today. That is unbelievable. We got Alan Jackson, who's 63. And then we also have a few others that are people I don't really reckon. Oh, Kimi Räikkönen is 42. I got to do that for Peter. Peter loves Kimi Räikkönen. And so, I know he's not watching, but we should. And Norm Macdonald, who's sadly passed away, his birthday was today as well. And so then we also have, of course, Shauna O'Brien, whose titles were Mistress Carmen's Star Pupil, Tied, Tickled, and Trampled, The After Party, Down in Dorothy's Dungeon, and Pain in the Behind.
That you are, Brad. You are her last title.
She was with. I already forgot his name.
I haven't really any amazing titles, so all
it sounds like she was in Silence of the Lambs.
She was in some BDSM shit. A lot of it.
All pain, no gain.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's show. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you again tomorrow at 9 a.m. Eastern time to do it all over. Make sure you're checking out that Discord. It's absolutely free to become part of the DC TV community, just to hang out and see what we're all up to. We have so much going on. Champ and I have just started our a sports channel as well that we're going to be getting in, and we're going to tie crypto all into that, by the way. So make sure you're tuning into us over at Chaos Sports. We'd love to hang out with you guys there too. I'm also, as I had mentioned, building a card channel that we're going to be getting into. So if you want to find out what we're up to and how we're building all of this stuff, go check us out at DC TV's Discord. we'd love to have you guys in there and really give us feedback too on what we're doing. So thanks so much for tuning in as always, and we'll see you tomorrow. Keep calm and huddle on, bitches.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Great week.